Listen, words have meanings, objective meanings. This is the only reason why we are able to even communicate. If you have your own subjective definitions when it comes to any word, and I have my own subjective definitions when it comes to any word, then we're never going to be able to communicate whatsoever. You cannot just choose a random word and add your own interpretation and your own definition to it, and then expect everybody else to just understand you. That's crazy. Now here's a quick story. Some years ago, when I didn't have a lot of information about Christianity, generally speaking, I knew that the Christians called Jesus Son, and they think Jesus is literally the begotten Son of God. So me, for the first time hearing this, and hearing this specific word, begotten, the way I understood that is that God came down to earth, had sexual intercourse with Mary, and then they had Jesus, and therefore Jesus is literally the begotten Son of God. I know that's very naive and it's something just very stupid to think, because that's not their understanding. But here's the thing. Why are you using that word? Remember what I said in the beginning, words have meanings. So when you are saying something like that and you are using a very specific term to describe the relationship between Jesus and God, you are confusing the hell out of the non-Christians and even Christians actually. This specific word has a very specific meaning and has a very specific definition. To beget means when a man, a male, and a woman, a female, get together and they have a sexual intercourse. The woman gets pregnant, and then later a child is born. And then the man becomes a father and the woman becomes the mother, right? This is exactly what is the definition of begetting. So when you are attributing this word to God, this is exactly what it means. So for someone like me who was not familiar with the Christian belief and hearing this word for the first time, I would be so confused because this is the only way I'm gonna actually understand it. There's no other way. Excuse my stupidity back then, but this is what I thought. So if Jesus was actually the begotten Son of God, the literal meaning would imply that God had a partner and he conceived a child. And obviously that's impossible because Christians do not admit that God had sexual relationships whatsoever. So why even use the word? Why can't you just change it? Choose something else, right? That makes more sense. But then you go and say, oh, we don't mean he's literally begotten Son of God. He is eternally the begotten Son of God. That means he was eternally being born. Again, you are making absolutely no sense, and you are making everything just worse. No one is going to be able to understand this. How is an event, becomes something eternal? I know you believe that Jesus is God and God the Father begets him eternally. Okay, let me tell you something. This is your own philosophical, subjective explanation to the entire thing. No one is going to be able to understand this, no matter how much you try to explain it, because it's rubbish. It makes absolutely no sense. You are using words and you're adding your own definitions to it and then expecting everybody else to just follow. No, that's not how reality works. But here's a mind-blowing information for you Christians out there. The word begotten does not appear anywhere in the original manuscripts. In the original manuscripts, the word that is used, that is translated to begotten, is monogenes. And guess what? The Greek translation for this particular word, monogenes, does not mean begotten. It means unique. So Jesus is the unique Son of God. He's not the begotten Son of God. And that's why a lot of people actually hate the King James version of the Bible, because that's where you find this. If you read other Bibles, you will not find this begotten. It's not translated that way. It's translated to unique and not begotten. Now the question that follows, even though you know this word is not in the Bible whatsoever, in the New Testament, it doesn't say this about Jesus, why do you still believe that Jesus is the begotten Son of God if the Bible does not tell you that he's such a thing? So yes, even though Christians use that God begetting a son, it is a mysterious part that they don't understand. They will never be able to explain this part to anyone. Now the Qur'an is very aware of this issue. 1400 years ago, the Qur'an talks about this and actually addressing the Christians directly. In Surah Al-Ikhlas, chapter 112, it says that God does not beget, nor is he begotten. For me, if I read this for the first time, it's not a big deal. I wouldn't understand why the Qur'an is telling me this. I know this, right? But then This is very important for the Christians out there who are confused about the nature of their God. And so when they read something very simple as this verse, the confusion completely just disappears. Even us as Muslims, if we read the Bible and we come across some text that says the Son of God or God the Father, anything like that, we will never have a confusion about that because we know the actual nature of God. God does not beget, nor is he begotten. There is actually another verse that is very specific as well, because when you attribute a literal son to God, you are committing blasphemy. So even for the Qur'an, this specific word, begotten, is very problematic, okay? The Qur'an does not like this word. And so it says in Surah Al-An'am, so chapter 6, verse 101, it says, the originator of the heavens and the earth, how could he have a son when he has no mate? Again, it is addressing exactly the word that you are attributing to him, that God is begetting a son, that a son is the begotten, that Jesus is the begotten Son of God. It is addressing this specific claim. And the Quran is directly asking the questions, since you're using this word, you know what it means. It is an animal act. It is a sexual intercourse. So, and you know God is one and God does not have a mate. So how can you attribute something like that to God while you know that God does not have a mate? So your claim is actually impossible and makes absolutely no sense. So again, why are you using words that is very misleading? And it's actually misleading entire generations. Billions of people are confused about who their God is just because you use this very specific word that is not even in your scripture. I challenge any Christian out there. Please explain to me, why are you using words that have very specific definitions and then you attribute that definition to God, but it's still a mystery? The reason why they want you to believe that Jesus is the begotten Son of God is to make you understand and to make you believe that Jesus has the same substance of God, that he is divine. That's why they left this understanding, even though it's not in the scripture, they left this understanding in their creed. And here's another information, maybe if you're a Christian and did not know about this. Jesus being the begotten Son of God was not something that all the early Christian community believed in. It's something that was introduced literally 300 years after the time of Jesus. So during the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, I think, they declared that Jesus was the begotten Son of God, that he was not created. They wanted him to be equal to God. They wanted you to believe that Jesus is someone he is actually not. Jesus is not God. They lied to you. Jesus is just a prophet. He's just a human being. And that's it.